Think of it. Just think of it. 3 years. 3 years. Following a man. 3 years following a man. You are married. You have a wife. You have children. You have family responsibility. And you are not a lazy, irresponsible man. You are a fisherman. A hard-working fisherman. Then you stop your fishing. Give away or sell or put your nets somewhere. And you follow a man for 3 years. He doesn't give you a salary. No salary. No support to carry to your wife and children. And you don't just go see him and go back home. You see him, stay with him, sleep where he sleeps, eat what he eats, stay where he stays. Follow him. Just follow him. Day and night, follow him. Be where he is, publicly and privately. 3 years. What do you think your wife will think? What do you think your children will think? What do you think even your relatives will think? What do you think the people around you will think of you? It's 3 years following a man. 3 years following a man. 3 years following a man. And yet, that's what it took for Peter to make the impact that he made that will never be repeated. I mean, will never be deleted in the history of time. In the history of time. Until Christ comes back, you will hear of Peter. You will read of Peter. You will even talk of Peter and preach of Peter. Yet, it took Peter stopping everything he was doing and following a man who was not paying him for 3 years. And being patient and humble to follow for 3 years. See, Jesus said one statement that carried so much weight that this generation will have to learn. Listen to me, listen. Jesus said, follow me and I will make you fishers of men. Follow me and I will make you. There is no making without following. There is no making without following. There is no way you can make yourself. You must be made. You can never make yourself. You can never make yourself. You can never make yourself. And there is no way you can become without being made. And there is no possibility of being made without following. And I have come to discover in life that following is very difficult thing. In fact, following takes sacrifice. Following takes patience. Following takes humility. Following takes humbleness of the highest level. We live in a generation that is so possessed with the manifesting that they don't wait to be made for them to manifest. They want to manifest so fast that they don't have time for the making time. So they don't humble themselves to be made. They are in a hurry to manifest. And even when they follow you, they have other reasons not to be made. They follow you for financial gain. They follow you that they may get what you have, whether money or whatever it is. They want what you have. They follow you not for grace. No. Not to be made. No. They follow you to gain by the financial gain they can get, financial whatever they can get from you. So they want you to pay them for following you. Yani, they follow you and then they want you to pay them for following you. They follow you. You release grace upon their lives. Then you pay them for following you. That's why we live in a generation that many will die without manifesting, because they never followed enough to be made. And there is no manifestation without being made. My question to you is, who is making you? Now I know some of you say, Jesus is making me. No, not lie. Jesus made disciples. It was upon the disciples to make other disciples. He even said, go all over the world, preach the gospel. And he said, make disciples, make disciples. I have made you disciples. You go out there and make disciples. So Jesus made Kabodi Jalaba, and he expects us to also make. And many people are in a hurry to manifest until they have no time to be made. And that's why when they go out there to manifest, they manifest nothing. It's just a lot of noise on the mountain, or a lot of noise in the prayer. Somebody even goes to the prayer of mountain and is there on the prayer mountain prophesying and preaching to people. Send your number, send this, send money to this. Because there's nothing to manifest, because they have never sat under anyone to make them. They have never sat under anyone to make them. They have never sat under anyone to make them. There is no way you can manifest without being made. There is no way you can be made without following. And there is no way you can follow without sacrifice. You sacrifice your pride, and sacrifice your time, and sacrifice your impatience, and kill the flesh, and subject the self. Who is making you? Who is making you? You want to be a great man. Who is making you? You want to make impact. Who is making you? You want to touch lives. Who is making you? You want to... Who is making you? The origin of school was not to pass knowledge. The origin of school from the beginning was to pass unction from one generation to another generation. This evening, I feel this truth is burning in my spirit. Those who manifest power, and all of you admire them, they don't manifest power because they pray more than you. Of course I pray. But they don't manifest power because they pray more than you. There are some people here in Zambia who have prayed more than Bonke ever prayed. There are people in Africa who have prayed more than Kenneth Hagin ever prayed. There are people here in Africa who have prayed more than T.L. Osborne ever prayed. There are people here in Africa who have prayed more than Joel Austin ever prayed. And yet, they have not manifested anything. Because they rushed into manifestation without being made. They rushed into manifestation without being made. The problem is, if a generation is not made, they will not be able to make the next generation. Who is making you? Who is making you? That's the message I want you to listen. Who is making you? The grace you need is not on the mountain. The grace you need is on somebody. People, you will have to learn this one day. You will have to believe me. It is by unction that men become great. It is by unction that men become great. It is by unction that men become great. Who is making you? Under whose grace are you? How is that grace changing your life? Never follow a man that you know he's leading you nowhere. Never subject yourself under grace that you don't want to have just because the leader bears the name of the denomination you belong. You don't belong to any denomination. You belong to Christ. And it is upon you to look for a church and denomination, movement, ministry that will help you become what God has created it to become. It's not about the name of the denomination. This is your life, and you are answerable to God alone. How do I put this? See, imagine if after 2 years, Peter decided to start Peter Pentecostal Church. After 2 years, he would have failed tragically because he wasn't ready. It is a hunter who knows when a arrow is ready to be shot. It is the hunter who knows when an arrow is ready to be shot. It is not the arrow which puts itself on the bow and shoots itself. What if Peter decided after 2.5 years, this is boring. Me, I'm going to begin my own church also. After all, Jesus sent them and they did some miracles. So what if after they did miracles, they said, even me, I can perform miracles? And they decided to leave Jesus and begin, some of them, their own ministries. They would have failed tragically. There are some people that are called to work under others and not begin their own. Not all people are called to begin their own. And you will be rewarded for working under that person. You see, God will reward obedience, not performance. God will reward obedience, not performance. If God tells you to work as an usher, you refuse and go start a church and become an archbishop, you have operated in total disobedience. You will not be rewarded for being an archbishop because you were called to be an usher. Who are you following? Who is making you? Who is making you? I challenge you. Are you being made? Are you following? You cannot become unless you are made. You can never be made unless you follow. Locate grace and follow it. I bless you. God bless you. Share this video and be a blessing to many others. Good night.
See you tomorrow morning. In Jesus' name.